Charles Leclerc is in a place that no other driver would want to be in right now. The Monegasque has experienced a lot of issues in 2022, most of them not directly related to his performance. So when everyone thought that he would be blessed with the arrival of Vasseur, the new team principal has proven everyone wrong with his newest statement. With Leclerc not being Ferrari's favorite driver, it appears that the Maranello team will think twice before offering him a contract extension, something he had not anticipated. Leclerc has signed an extension with Ferrari back in 2021, up until the end of the 2024 season, and while many thought that he would be the Maranello team's secured pick, Vasseur proved everyone wrong. To think that Leclerc was one of the main enablers for Ferrari to bring Vasseur on board, you could argue that this was backstabbing. Nonetheless, Vasseur said what he said, and before we go to his statement regarding Leclerc and the praise he has for Sainz, let's see what he had to say about the reliability issue of Ferrari. Obviously, Ferrari is a team that could have done much better if not for reliability issues, particularly in the first half of the season. But now that this is in the past, the team is looking forward to the new challenges, ones that have likely been fixed by Binotto prior to his departure. Binotto hasn't done particularly well as a manager of the team, but there is no doubt that his engineering expertise has helped him up to the point of fixing everything that needs to be fixed for 2023. This is something that Vasseur has shared with us as well, and when talking about the claims of Ferrari having a better and improved engine, one that would be faster for 30 base horsepower, he laughed it off and immediately added, regarding the engine, the numbers. I don't know where those numbers are coming from, but it's just a joke. We have made some steps for power unit, but it's just about reliability. I think the performance last year was not an issue at all, but the issue was reliability, and the first target is to fix it. So far, it looks okay, but the reality on the track is a different perspective. I think that a couple of issues that the team suffered from, and it's not only true for Ferrari in terms of reliability, are also coming from bouncing and vibration. Everybody will have a much better picture in Bahrain. Having said that, Ferrari is likely to struggle for performance again in 2023, given that porpoising hasn't been entirely eradicated, and the FIA is completely certain that the new regulations will work. But this is something that Leclerc and Sainz will have to fight off on the track, and if the team isn't really competitive for wins and championships, Vasseur will likely allow them to. After saying that every successful team has had a designated number 1 and number 2, and Mercedes with their respective champions, Vasseur seemed to have changed his mind all of a sudden. Now, the Frenchman believes that both of the drivers need to be given an equal chance to prove themselves, and therefore, he will decide who will be designated number 1 and number 2 driver in the future. This is one of the main reasons why he isn't prolonging Leclerc's deal prior to the beginning of the 2023 season. And as Bottas said, it's always a huge pressure to perform, knowing that your seat isn't a secured one. But unlike him, Leclerc is definitely a driver who will find a seat in a competitive team, with Mercedes lurking in the shadows and waiting for Ferrari to slip and fall. When talking about Leclerc's contract and why Ferrari isn't rushing when it comes to prolonging it beyond 2024, Vasseur said, "I know both drivers quite well, and I think we still have some time before we start talking about the future. For me today, this is not the number 1 priority. We have to start the season very well, then there will be time for the rest. I think it would be a mistake to start negotiations at a time when the priority is another one." That would be more than enough to bring a lot of doubt to Leclerc and his performance, and if there's something that we've learned from 2022, it's the fact that Leclerc's performance under pressure and insecurity isn't really the best. On the other hand, you have Sainz, a driver who brought his own decisions to Silverstone and Monaco in 2022, both of which turned out to be perfect for his races. That is why Vasseur wants to invest more hope in Sainz rather than just throw him out the window like everyone else hoped would happen. And it wouldn't be the first time that Leclerc was outperformed by Sainz, as we all remember that in 2021, Sainz was the one with a better result at the end of the season, even though it was his first one in Ferrari and Leclerc already had a couple of seasons of experience. This is why Vasseur is full of praise for Sainz and believes that the Spaniard has a lot to prove to the world, and his performance is one that we shouldn't neglect by any means. Back in 2017, Vasseur was the main reason why Sainz signed a deal with Renault, and after he departed to be the team principal of Sauber, he said that he made some calls in terms of bringing Sainz in. However, the Spaniard chose McLaren, and Vasseur stated that the only way to work with Sainz is to join his team. With this statement, Vasseur confirms that Leclerc is not the only reason that he joined Ferrari, as he also has experience with Sainz, and he believes that he is also capable of winning the championship and being Ferrari's number one, further adding, "I think it's the same everywhere that we have two very good drivers, and both of them are able to do the job. We will have the capacity to provide them with exactly the same car and the same structure and the same support. What is clear is that the target is to win with Ferrari. There will be no number one or number two. But if at one stage we have to take action, I will take action. It doesn't matter if it's one or the other, but if at one stage in the season I have to do something, then I will do it." The news just keeps coming for Leclerc, and after not being wanted at Ferrari beyond 2024, he must prove his worth in a direct battle with Sainz. And this is something that Leclerc understands will be a huge challenge ahead of him, and it doesn't help that Vasseur shared his personal experience with Sainz and how he feels regarding the fact that both of them will collaborate now at Ferrari. When talking about this matter, Vasseur said, "We have always had a very good relationship. I trust him, and I think he showed in the last couple of years that he is a potential winner. But it's very important for the team that we don't have a number one and a number two. The organization is crystal clear, but they have to do their job, and if at any stage I have to take action for Carlos and for Charles, I will do it." So, there you have it. Sainz does have huge challenges to prove himself to be the number one driver in Ferrari, and although Leclerc will have something to say regarding this matter, there will be an interesting battle between them. One thing that points towards this fact is that Ferrari should not be as competitive as everyone thinks, given the fact that their engine won't be faster as the rumors said, and the bouncing and vibrations will cause reliability issues again if they haven't been addressed well from Benito and his crew. The Spaniard was linked to a contract with Audi starting in 2026, mostly because everyone thought Leclerc would be the Vasseur's favorite starting in 2023, but that doesn't appear to be the case. If you want to be considered as a championship candidate, you need to make your own calls, like Sainz did multiple times in 2022. Leclerc's dependence on the team isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we've seen that the team can make mistakes sometimes, and you as a driver need to be able to think critically and bring your own judgment to the table. Nevertheless, it seems that Leclerc is the driver who doesn't have a secure future in Ferrari, and Mercedes would want to pay closer attention to how the situation develops in the Maranello team. If Leclerc presents himself as an available driver from 2025 on, Mercedes would be glad to replace the 7-time world champion, who is already in talks for retirement after 2 seasons, with the young and talented Monegasque. What do you think will happen with Leclerc at Ferrari? Let us know in the comments below.